It's your girl, Coach Christal, and welcome to another episode of People on Purpose. If you're just joining us, People on Purpose is a podcast where I get to talk to people who not only have a purpose in their heart, but they have purpose-driven lives, not just for themselves, but as you know, the vision coach, the vision has to have good in it for others. So I believe that by me sharing these conversations with you, there's good in it for you too. So if you're just joining us, this is Steps and Stages, a platform where I get to talk about the steps to transformation and the different stages that your life can go through as you get to a life you actually love living. We welcome everyone into the Steps and Stages community with the same mantra, and it just says that a lot of things happen before this, and I guarantee a lot of things will happen after this, but we promise to be here with you now. Please be here with us now. So wherever you're tuning in from, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, go ahead and share this with someone because it's going to be a special episode. Today, I get to talk to a dear friend, but a person who does a lot of actual kind of behind the scenes work, right? We think about therapy as it hit a huge boom during the pandemic. Everybody wanted to have a therapist. Everybody wanted to do the work. And then people got back to normal. And then the work kind of subsided. And now we're back in this flux of, I have a therapist. I don't know what to do with the one. I'm having these relationships. I'm having these questions, not just about myself, but in community with others. And in light of Men's Mental Health Month, I thought it would be amazing to talk to someone who I know has been working in the mental health industry for many years and has taken men really as his charge and his transformative work. So please help me welcome Dr. Curtis Jasper.
Thank you very much, Coach Christal. Glad
Hey,
to be
Kurt.
here.
Hey,
How you doing?
amazing. So good to be here with you. Um,
Absolutely.
Look, you can let the people know who you are in your own words before we dive in. But who are you? What do you do? What is your purpose as you see it right now?
Yeah, so more importantly, I'm a father and a grandfather. I am a community servant. I professionally go by a few different terms, mostly counseling psychologist. My job is to first live out loud, to demonstrate how, in fact, what it means to live a purpose driven, powerful, impacted life overall. Let me be clear with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I targeted men for obvious reasons, black men in particular. And I work with males, and I have been for the last 30 years, starting off as a classroom teacher in education. And this is just my way of teaching on a different, higher level. As a
hmm
matter of fact, I've switched more from the clinical process back to the teaching style. I find that to be more effective in terms of making transformation with others.
Yeah. That's amazing because I think, there's this old saying, right? Like if you want to know, you read, if you want to learn, you write, but if you want to master, you teach,
Right.
right? And so as we're mastering ourselves, we're also mastering the lessons that we share with others. What's been for you, Kurt, the lesson that you've had to master for yourself that allows you to share more authentically with others?
Man, that's an awesome question, Coach. The most recent, and I think this has just been a game changer, I've been putting it off, is acceptance. I've
hmm
struggled with acceptance, right? And
Yeah,
you touched on it, right? Like just be here now, just
yeah,
accept right here, right now.
yeah.
And so I struggled with acceptance. I didn't actually get it for myself until things became very challenging.
Yeah.
And accepting is different than being present, right? Because you can be presently unaccepting. We all been there, right?
If the present, I would rather live in the past or the future. I do not accept right now. Okay, yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Exactly,
Yeah, go ahead.
exactly. So I've learned to accept
Uh-huh.
how things are, even when it comes to my own stuff for now, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't get there until you be here. So I've
Yeah.
learned to accept some of the most challenging things. That's my biggest lesson, and it's an ongoing practice, right? It's like shooting a jump shot in the gym.
Yeah.
So every day I work up like, what is it that we're accepting versus what is it that we're resisting? So
Mm.
acceptance is my thing these days,
Yeah. I often think about this in my own practice, Kurt, is that like resistance is really the portal to the next part of you.
for sure.
And as much as we push it away and resist it, it's just going to keep showing up, right?
Yep.
Like, so where do you find the most resistance, I guess, with your clients?
Oh wow, that's a good. It depends,
Uh-huh.
right? Most of them are resisting acceptance, ironically, but
Yeah.
resisting the notion that there's a new life on the other side of the challenge
Mm.
that they approached me with, right?
Yeah.
Like they gotta sort of be there.
Yeah.
Like there is a new beginning. Like this is perfectly occurring right now
hmm
that you'll see. So that's one of the biggest challenge overall is, really, really guiding my clients to like, yeah, I need you to accept what's here now so that we can move through it. Not over it, not around it, not under it, through it.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so I mean, we've known each other for at least about 5 or 6 years now, right? Maybe something like that. I'm bad with time.
Yep.
I think one of the things that really is the catalyst here, right, is that I don't believe people can accept the now until they actually have a bigger vision for where they want to go.
Agreed.
Right. And so
Yep.
you're actually saying to them, great, but unless we change what's happening right now, there's nothing on the other side except for what you've been doing.
Correct.
So disrupting patterns, I think, is really the hardest part. Like, yeah, go ahead. I see your head going. Yeah, go ahead.
That again. Now
Yeah,
I'm 55, so
yeah,
I really take being who you pretend to be or portray to be online as a real thing, even when
correct.
no one's looking. So
Yes.
the breaking of the patterns is a whole different. Like you already know that, Coach, right? That's
Yeah.
why I laugh because that pattern breakingness
Hmm.
ish is the thing now.
Yeah. But how do we do that? I mean, that we live in a infodemic,
For
right?
sure.
Everybody wants to Google, how do I do this? How do I do that? And they're doing that so that they can try to ensure that they do it right. But that right fit is not for everybody. So how have you broken some of the patterns in your life, and then how do you help clients do that?
Right. So you made a great point. It's because we have access to information that we deem as being the end all be all,
Right.
we've become intellectual stagnants, right? All of
Hmm.
us, right? And
Yeah.
so my number one job is to move the body. I tell people all the time, like, I'm not posting videos of me working out and walking because I'm trying to be sexy at 55. I'm trying, well, sort of. Right. Sort of, but not entirely.
Right.
I'm
Right.
trying to demonstrate like you must move through to break patterns, right? You
Right.
literally have to move. Sometimes it's physically, it's neurologically, but the
Yeah.
disruption is really like just breaking through. Not
Mhm.
perfectly,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
100% all the time, but really disrupting it where you become now comfortable
Uh-huh.
disrupting old ways of being,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
really that. Like you got to actually perform the behavior and action to disrupt the patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now, Kurt, you're speaking to the first 20 years of my life. You
I know,
understand?
already know.
Right. And I think people sometimes have a hard time connecting my parts as it shows up in the present, right?
Mhm.
Like as a dancer, as someone for 20 years who had to rehearse, who had to train, if I didn't move, it didn't make sense, right? Like all of those things actually have catalyzed into this practice of, the vision coach, right? But as a psychotherapist, as someone who people perceive I go down, sit still, and talk to, how do you inspire them to get that movement into their transformation?
So I'm hoping you froze up.
Yep, I
Can
can
you
still
hear
see
me?
you. Can you hear me?
Uh, it's really just I things with the body. Oh Lord,
You're good. You're good. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. It must be important. Go
we
ahead. Uh-huh.
back. Okay,
Yeah.
right, right. I show how what it means to actually move the body. I stay in action. Right there. When I went through a tough period in my time in my life, I actually stayed in action. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have it figured out. So I know what it means to stay in action. And sometimes that requires resting on your feet. Sometimes it's required resting, literally resting. But
Yep.
overall, moving the energy around the through the body, around the body. So one of the things that I encourage, I've never not given a prescription to anybody I've worked with, coached, and not start off saying, what's your workout routine?
Mm-hmm.
How do you move your body? And that's the very first thing. Like you gotta get up and move. I know it
Yeah.
looks like I sit down all day,
Yeah.
but right after this session, I'm at the gym or on the trail walking. So
Yeah.
really, just encouraging people to move.
Yeah.
Just
I know
move.
you've been really candid about some of your own kind of transformative, I would say hard spots, right? And
Mhm.
I know that you have been really talking to people and about grief in your own life, right? How has that transformed your process, or how are you moving grief in your life to get to the next level?
Yeah, it's a lot of different things
Yeah.
a lot of different times, right? Grief is one of these things you love to hate, right? Now I'm a grief expert, right?
Yeah.
And so on some level, I have to love it to serve people,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other level, I'm in a perpetual state of grief myself, as
Mm-hmm.
we all are.
Yeah.
And so I've taken some real, challenges and with losing loved ones in the last year or so. And so what I know about grief is things are okay. Things are exactly as they should be. So there's a spiritual component. There's obviously a mental and emotional component. There's a physical component.
Yeah.
And so grief is one of those things where you just gotta just be open to making a relationship with grief.
Mm-hmm.
Grief becomes your new partner in life on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different areas. And I tell people all the time, and I remind me, you ain't gotta love it. I just don't need you to hate it, because then you tie up a lot of emotional bandwidth where
Yeah.
it really clouds other areas of your life.
Yeah.
And so grief is one of those things where you have moments, you have days. If you have weeks and quarters, then you really need to check in with somebody. But it's absolutely necessary. And this is, I just,
Oh, one more time, Kurt. I missed you.
of holding grief is
Uh-huh.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is okay.
When you when you're talking about checking in with someone, you know, a lot of times people feel ashamed to share the grief process that they're going through. Right? They feel like they're sad. They don't want to put their sadness on other people. They may interpret the grief as something that they're going to live with at the same level for the rest of their lives. So how do we kind of get this partnership or relationship with grief more normalized so that it does kind of walk alongside you as, you know, what I like to refer to as misplaced love, and till you find a place to reinvest it?
Yeah, I think really sharing what grief is and how
Hmm.
other emotions serve you in spite of some of the heavy grief emotions.
Yeah.
So, for example, you can be sad and energetic, right? You can be sad about the loss and energetic to go to work, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to give one emotion permission to hijack your entire life or day.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right? You don't. Like you could be disrupted, you could be disappointed, you could be angry, right? They can coexist. Emotions coexist. Maybe not in the same moment at the same time, but
Yeah.
in your body.
Yeah.
Right? You could be
Yes.
happy that you just got paid or you're in this loving relationship and sad that your mother transitioned.
Yeah.
You can. And if you allow it to hold the space, right? If you
Yeah.
allow it to hold the space, it makes it that much more tolerable in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, I think of it a lot as like, you know, I'm in this space right now where I've been purging the house. This could be like a, you know, perimenopause thing. Who knows? Who knows? Right. But I'm like, everything that's not, I'm Marie Kondo in here. If it ain't bringing me joy, it's got to get out. Right. So I'm trying to make space. Right. You also know that I'm on the verge of getting married. Right. So I feel like there's some like space that I got to make in order to receive this next kind of level of partnership, right? And so I hear you saying that in the body, in the mind, right? Like sometimes we just got to organize some space. And I
Yeah.
remember when my mother died, I literally told people at my primary client career that I was like, don't talk to me on Wednesdays. It's
Mm,
Wellness Wednesday. Like if you see me in the office, ignore me. I
yeah.
could be here doing work. I could be in my basement crying. And I was scheduling my grief, right?
Yeah.
I was like, Wednesdays is the days I get to cry, fall apart, don't talk to me. If I do feel like doing something, I'll do it. But if I don't, I'm not.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think
Absolutely.
people thought there was like a hard line of like, how do you schedule your grief? Like I would literally be in meetings listening to what people say, and I would feel sadness wash over me. I'd write down on the notepad beside me, I can't wait till Wednesday. Right.
Yeah.
Just like, so, I mean, that was my strategy. How are you finding that with men or your primary client in order to give them permission to schedule their grief?
Just like you said, actually letting them know that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? I do the same thing. You and I have talked about this before. People who know me, if you've ever seen me wear yellow, that's my mother's favorite color. So that's me paying homage to her. I do that once a month. I got plenty of yellow articles that I've accumulated since her transition. I also listen to one of her favorite artists, Whitney Houston. So whenever I want to sort of connect with that grief, and,
Yeah.
and so I've practiced enough that grief is now a celebration for me. It doesn't get to sneak up on me. It's a new
Yeah.
relationship, right?
Yeah.
I have somewhere to put the love.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I've like you said, I've made it intentional because I got stuff to do, right? Grief can't just be coming out of nowhere. I got stuff,
Okay.
so I schedule it.
Right.
Like now, I got a sink full of dishes. I gotta schedule it. I don't want to do it, but it needs to be done, so I
Right.
gotta schedule it, right?
Right.
I
Right.
gotta
Right.
put my sneakers upstairs. I
Yeah.
don't feel like doing it, but it needs to be done, so I gotta schedule it. And I did grief the way where it just became a part of my life, my
Yeah.
existence, right? So to your point, Coach, I I talked two men through it, and the best way to get it over is the very story that you and I just shared. Just tell them your story. I find
Yeah.
a lot of professionals that yeah, they can intellectualize, they could use the coaches, the therapies, but what's your story? Your clients will sit on that screen and be like, "That makes sense to me."
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people when it comes to grief, in terms of losing a loved one, I guarantee you, absent the body, you
Yeah.
have a million things to acknowledge them for.
Yes. Yeah.
Choose three.
Mm-hmm.
You have a million. Choose two. Choose
Yeah.
five. Choose
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And I think a part of that process, Kurt, is, and this could be a whole other episode, right? The other part of grief that sometimes hijacks us is the foundation or like the next step of forgiveness.
Mm.
Right? My father died. I was just mad at him for dying. I was like, how dare you? I ain't even got to college yet. What are you doing? Right? Like, sir, this is not it. Like, right. So all of the like things that we think we're not supposed to say, right? All of the things that we are disappointed by, like the forgiveness of the person then allows us to actually be grateful for the experiences.
Oh
And then,
yeah.
especially in my life story, right? That then allowed me to see the manifestation of what those gifts were that were coming,
Mm.
right? Rather than being mad that he wasn't there.
Oh yeah. I know
Yeah.
that all too well.
Tell us, Kurt. Tell us about what
I
do
ain't
you
trying to cry on this now. I
okay.
got stuff to do. It's
Okay,
Monday,
we got
Coach.
dishes to
You
wash. Okay.
taking us there, right? You taking us there already. Okay, let's go. Very similar to you, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have the best relationship with my dad coming around. And so
Yeah.
much so that I convinced myself that he was not in my life as active
Mm,
as I thought he was.
yeah.
Just because my parents were divorced and he lived in a separate household.
Yeah.
So since third grade, fourth grade, we talking 1979. I'm old,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I had him painted as being an absent father,
Yeah.
when in fact he was just a co-parenting, and so I made him wrong. So when he transitioned, he disrupted my identity, my story, right? He shattered my ego and my journey because
Yeah.
oh, I'm from the South Side. I'm raised by a single mama.
Oh
I
yeah.
had to get it out of the mud. None of
Uh,
that's true. None of
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not a street kid. My
Yeah.
father was very active in my life, right? Like, but it wasn't a good story because he didn't show up in the manner that I wanted. It
Right.
wasn't until he transitioned. I wrote a forgiveness letter to him in my very first book because I was a complete jerk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I had to turn it up the older I got. The more
Mm-hmm.
I felt I didn't need him, the more arrogant and disrespectful I became.
Yeah.
And I look, I was close to my mom. I'm still grieving my dad 10 times more challenging than mom. And
Yeah.
mom was my dog. Me and mom was tight.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And I'm
get
like,
that.
rest well, my queen. But my
Yeah.
father, I'm like, dude, I don't need more lessons from us. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing.
But I think that's, okay. And again, in this world right now, especially in this kind of digital world where people get to recreate their stories so easily, the real story, like the authentic story of like, what is that other person's struggle while I'm perceiving their harm?
Mm,
Right. That's a whole other kind of conversation.
it is.
Right. And I think a lot of times we don't want to give what we say the benefit of the doubt to the person who hurt us, but we're not absolving them of the hurt. We're just trying to understand what would actually make you distribute your version of love to me like this.
Yeah. We are definitely sympathy experts,
Mm-hmm.
but not empathy experts.
Yep.
We don't. Majority of the people I come to, they totally clueless about this whole empathy. As a matter of fact, they use them interchangeably,
Yeah.
but they cannot step outside of themselves to ask, "What's this really about?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? I
Mm-hmm.
To your point, I remember before my father passed, I was like, "You weren't there, dude," and he was like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean I wasn't there?" But I had the story in my mind.
Yeah.
In his mind, he like, "Are you crazy? I took you to college. Like, what are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
it was just the perception, right? I had my version of how he harmed me, right? He accepted his responsibility, but my version of how he harmed me it was a miss.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was. I had to do my own healing work to realize the dude was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 And then I think, okay, in this, okay, again, right, because we're using words interchangeably, right?
Mhm.
Sympathy is I see it, empathy is I understand it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So when people are using those words interchangeably, it's not just what you see, it's what you understand. And
Correct.
as we see each other, sometimes we're not actually seeing each other.
Right.
We're seeing the mythology that we've created of the person in front of us. And we
Absolutely.
would rather reinvigorate our own mythology than open up and be curious about who's actually in front of us.
Yep.
Right.
That's
And I
it.
think, and I guess we give men a bad rap because I think there's just not a lot of space for men to understand curiosity. Right?
Agreed.
I mean, am I wrong? Am I right?
No, no, and for a very big reason, in my estimation, right? We haven't been taught to be self curious.
Mm,
We can't even extend what we don't even know that we don't possess, right?
yeah.
There's a curiosity, and I teach this one, right? I need you to stay curious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Staying curious will keep you from becoming furious, right?
Yeah.
That
Okay.
ain't no cliche. That's real.
Yeah.
And so, and it could be as simple as, "What's that about for you?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? I'll get up with an attitude. I'm like, "What's that about for you?"
Yeah.
Right? I get up with this machine. I'm over here. I got 3 laptops. I got 3 machines in front of me. I'm like, "Damn it," because I don't like being late. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
like being. So I
Yeah.
got to be like, "What's this about for you?"
Uh-huh.
Like, "What's this about for you?" And you know what it came down to? Like, just be cool. Be here right now. What's
Yeah.
this about for you? And it was as simple as the newer laptops doesn't have a plug-in for my Ethernet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I've been using this big camera, these lights and stuff, and now it's like, we suggest you plug this Ethernet in on the StreamYard, and I'm like, "What plug?" So
Right.
I'm scrambling, and so to your point, like, I had to stay curious, and for me, I've practiced enough to be like, "Dude, what's this about for you?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to look bad. I don't want to be late. We scheduled this month." All the stuff that comes to me, and finally, it was just like, "Be here."
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really important, right? Because if we don't figure out what's behind it, we'll just figure out why is it not working the way that we have been working it.
Correct.
Right. And I think that's what shows up for many of us, men, women, right? Why is it not working the way I've been working it? Like, I've been a good person for many years, and why now are people not perceiving me as a good person? I've been I've been the happy one, I've been the strong one, I've been the, like, why now is what I've been doing not working in this new scenario? Right.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've learned that a lot of the things that I thought was working wasn't really working.
Hmm.
That's the real revelation. Like, you
Yeah.
sure it was working, or were you just getting by? Like, you sure it was actually workable,
Mm,
right? Or were
yeah.
you just getting to what you consider a means to an end? So,
Hmm.
yeah, just really being confrontational, right? When you get 50 and plus, you become uh, not confrontational in an energetic sense, but daily confronting who you used to be.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And so when you ask yourself those questions in the morning, or ask yourself those questions when you begin to feel uncomfortable, that's you confronting who you used to be.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And sometimes it's not a being, sometimes it's just a doing. But I've developed a relationship to speak to myself as my own best friend. Like, bro,
Mm,
what are we doing? What are we doing? We're not doing that today. Knock it off. You're good. Stop tripping. Oh, that's good. Just just to check it in.
Ah,
Just to check
right.
it in, like
Yeah.
being relatable. I tell people all the time. I mean, oh, it's my relationship. You're not relatable. You're just not. There's a whole skill set to that. You in a relationship being unrelatable. Talking to calling me. What are you calling me for? I don't need to talk to your partner. I need to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. Being right, because that's the way that they've been getting by or talking to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This inner voice is important. I mean, I
Oh,
mean, I know, we know, but we're having this conversation for the benefit of the hearers, right?
correct. Yes.
Okay. This inner voice, if this inner voice can't be honest, if this inner voice is on repeat or loop of old mistakes, if this inner voice only has a setting for critique and not for curiosity, we're stuck.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and a lot of times, what you're saying is that voice that's critiquing is just it's eating away at who you could be, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, and so how do you get men to switch that knob on the inside? How do you flip the switch?
Yeah, that's good. So I one of the distinctions. I'm so glad that I go back to teaching now because brothers, we've been in school since pre-K, so they
Yeah,
get more of a teaching than the whole clinical point.
correct. Yeah.
So one of the distinctions I point out is the difference between the critiquing versus criticism,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
that's the thing, right? So your inner voice could be a critic that criticize you. Criticize you is just laying out the laundry list of what you ain't doing right. A
Yeah.
critique is like a job evaluation. They give you the good and the bad.
Yeah. And the
So
next
that's
step.
the right, right. So
Mhm.
that I tell people you got to become like you got to go from the criticism to critiquing.
Yeah.
Like I need you to lay it all out,
Yeah.
right? You get to cherry pick. But if you're just criticizing, come on now, that's like that. Train the inner voice, and the way you train it is through practice. You just speak nicely to yourself.
Hmm.
You could dialogue. I say every single day, bruh, stop it. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I've been running these scripts for 40 some years. You think they ain't gonna try to come? And
Yeah.
I just speak nicely to them. I don't fight with them. And sometimes I let them know that they're not necessary,
Yeah.
but other times they're very helpful.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so here's the inner voice practice, right? You get to decide which is which and how you want to be to confront it. There's
Hmm.
some voices that when you're doubting yourself, there's some inner voices be like, bruh, come on now, we doing this, we killing this, like you
Right.
got it.
Yep.
So there's a relationship that we must develop with our inner voice.
This is good because I think you just said something that was really powerful in terms of, being in a relationship and not being relatable.
Yeah,
But going back to this inner voice, like not being able to relate to yourself won't allow you to be able to relate to others.
absolutely.
Or,
Absolutely.
yeah, or if you've been relating to yourself in one singular way,
Yep.
right? And then you're only showing up in that singular way, these relationships, I think you and I might have had this conversation before, Kurt, I was single for a very long time. You know?
Yes.
So
Congratulations, though. Let's be clear.
yes. Oh yeah.
Congratulations,
Goodness,
coach.
I'm a recovering workaholic, and so I just had to find something else to work hard at. And here we go, I'm getting married.
I
So,
love it.
right, because I believe that, and a lot of people are not understanding what I mean by this, but I'm gonna say it out loud again. For me, getting married feels like the only catalyst to the next level of my spiritual growth. Right. And so when I think about how I would get there or what I would do, it has to happen in relationship. Right. And so people are like, well, why you need to get married to grow spiritually? And I'm like, I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship. I don't know if you understand what spiritual growth looks like. Right. So
Right.
like for me, my
Right.
fiance says, he says, oh, so you're just using me. I said, look, are you having a good time? Let's just go. Quit playing. Right. So
Let's
like,
be clear, right?
let's
Like,
be
what
clear, right?
using is not abusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
when you think about it, like when you hear me say that, right, as a man who, has been in a relationship, has counseled other people, like what's your hearing of it? What do you hear me saying?
Well, first of all, intimate relationship is or marriage, intimate relationships, number one personal development program.
Right. Right. Yes.
Number one personal development program. You want to
Mhm.
develop personally, you're gonna get exposed. Now, because it's high
Yeah.
exposure, good,
Yeah.
bad, and not so good, and terrible, I should say.
Yeah.
And so it is the leveling up from the spiritual. We are meant to be in relationship. We got
Yeah.
here through relationship
Right.
to some degree, right?
Hmm.
And so relationships is, to me, right? And it doesn't have to be state sanctioned necessarily, but it does allow you to receive a reflection of how you showing up or even how you thought you were showing up. You're
Yeah.
going to get exposed. I share with people the best thing about exposure is the good stuff gets exposed too. So while
Yeah.
you're trying to hide from the bad exposure, I need you to know like it's all going to get exposed. So lean in.
Hmm.
So relationships, and so I quite frankly, I share it professionally. Everybody knows I've been divorced twice, right? And I tell people I'm not a marriage expert, I'm a divorce expert. I'm clear to show you what's on this side, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to somebody else about what marriage is. I'm gonna tell you how to stay married, but not by not doing the stuff that gets you divorced,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what I got to teach you.
Yeah.
Words don't teach, only experience teaches. You can
Yes.
talk to somebody else to read a self help book about how to stay happily married. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you how you definitely gonna mess up a marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's important, right? A lot
Mhm.
of times people are so afraid to fail these days that they don't actually have the experience. They only have the information,
Correct.
right? And like you and I say this all the time, is unless the information is put into practice, you don't have any real data.
Correct.
You just have somebody else's diary.
That's it. Woo. Oh wow. All right, coach. I'm still in that. I may or may not give you credit.
Oh, you better. But like that's what we're doing. We're using other people's diaries as somehow some type of a blueprint for how not to mess up.
Yeah.
When at that point we don't allow ourselves the exposure and the ability to fail forward and actually get new information and new experiences.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I tell myself, I remind it, you don't succeed to success. You fail forward to
That's
success.
what, yep.
Right?
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
succeed to success.
Yeah. No, we have to mess up. Well,
Yeah.
what's one of the, I guess, because I'm also finding, okay, we can just be really candid here, Kurt. Okay, I'm getting married um, to a black man. We're both almost 50, so there's a lot of life that we've lived before this, right? And so the unpacking and the recalibrating as a unit
Mhm.
sometimes requires a lot of excavation,
Mhm.
right, of the past. Like, why do you think that? Why do you feel that? Why did you show up? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, where
Mhm.
did this come from, right? And so when we think about, I think past is rather than prologue is the prescription, right?
Mm.
How do you like help repackage the past as the prescription for the new practice?
Yeah, that's a good one. So it just depends, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I practice when it comes to relationship and that I share is when it comes to joining your life with another person, in addition to, c- doing all the personal development, it's actually a new opportunity to kind of go back to a different level, right?
Hmm.
So, for example, I work with a married couple and I'm like, keep it corny and lame and on the sixth grade level, like for real. Because
Yeah.
sometimes your words and your adulting, your intellect and all that get in the way.
Yeah.
Just be friends, be dope. That's your dog, that's your girl. Like, be dope. Like, y'all got, like, you got to develop a new way of being just for y'all.
Hmm.
The way
Hmm.
you talk, the communication has to be where y'all in a crowded dinner party and y'all can both signal like it's time to go.
Yeah.
Like that level of connection.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
sometimes that take going back to 16, 17, 12. Two
Yeah.
12-year-olds having a good time. Y'all got plenty. Life gonna force you to be adults more than you would like.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
it corny, lame, and safe. Right?
Hmm.
Most couples get in trouble with the words and language and the way they converse, not communicate.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between conversation and communication,
Yes. Yes.
right? Right. Yeah. So when you commune, that means as a result of us sharing, we gonna become one.
Yeah.
Conversation is like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Versus.
Community
Mhm.
communication is like as a result is me and you against everything and everybody.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. When you work with men, what is or what are the top three things that you feel like keep men emotionally safe?
Hmm. Running,
Mm-hmm.
isolation, and silence.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not a foolproof safety, but
Yeah.
it does provide some level of temporary safety.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is we overly depend on it and then we abuse it. So now we're a runner. Now we're a total isolator.
Yeah.
Now we're mute. We don't say nothing. And so
Mm.
that's what comes. Men have relied on these three strategies to stay safe in the moment and adopted them as a new way of life, which has
Mm.
caused them challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are times where you need to remove yourself.
Yeah.
There are times where you need to isolate. There are times where you don't need to share everything you think or feel. It
Mm-hmm.
just is. And so if we use that as a strategy, it becomes coping, right? I hear all these professionals using the term coping. We don't want to cope. We want to manage,
Uh-huh.
right? Sometimes I need you to raise your voice and tell the person exactly how you feel,
Yeah.
right? You can feel angry without becoming angry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the other part, right? Like a lot of times they we as people, but I think men specifically because they don't get the kaleidoscope opportunities to change who they are so quickly,
Hmm.
right? I think what happens is that the feeling and the coping becomes the identity.
Yep.
And then it's well, this is who I am.
Yep.
Right. And so how do you, I mean, what's the best, most healthy way to help people? I mean, I'm thinking about my fiance, I'm thinking about my brother, I'm thinking about my 16-year-old son of like, you don't have to be.
David 16.
I know, man.
Damn.
I know, Kurt. I know. I know. I know. I know.
I got to reach out to my man.
Yeah.
No worries. Let me write him down on my sheet. I'm going to talk to this 60. He was 30 when I last talked to him. The hell? What are we going to talk about now?
He Benjamin Button. So the older he get, the younger he can. It's a scale with that one.
Okay. Okay. I forgot the question, coach. My bad.
No,
You threw
no,
me
it's
off with
no,
Gabe
it's
16,
good.
right?
No, I hear
Jesus.
you. No, like the thing about it is that once they get fixed on something because there's so much fluid modernity, right? Like the the moment changes so quickly.
Mhm.
People are trying to hold on to something, right? And if they can say, "Well, this is who I am," then they don't feel as open to changing that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because it feels like the only thing they can kind of control and hold on to. So how do we get men of all ages to really say it's okay to change? It doesn't disrupt your integrity, but it might change how you perceive your identity.
And that's all it is, coach. You just said it. It's all identity work, right?
Yeah.
Most men think that they have challenges that are not real challenges. The challenge is your identity, right? You cannot
Hmm.
outperform or outachieve or go beyond your self identity.
Yeah.
None
Yeah.
of us can, right?
Yeah. You'll
And
never
so
outgrow
that's
who
the
you think you are.
work. Say that again.
You'll never outgrow who you think you are.
Correct.
Hmm.
Right. So that's the work, like how it is. And then the follow up question is it currently working for you? Right?
Mm.
Not you tolerating yourself and settling, but is it working? So the identity, to answer your question, the identity is the work,
Yeah.
right? The identity is the work. And I always use myself as an example. I'm 55. I
Yeah.
ain't 50. I ain't 45. My kids are grown. We've been there, done that. I got a
Yeah.
10-year-old grandbaby.
Yeah.
I'm two generations deep right now. I
Hmm.
have to see myself right a certain way, like I'm leaving a legacy more so than trying to be a perfect father. I'm trying to leave a legacy for the kids and the grandkids. That's my new identity for myself, and I
Yeah.
must govern myself accordingly, as opposed from 0 to 18 trying to be this dad and co-parent.
Hmm.
So now that's my identity. So it's the identity. We start here and we reverse engineer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what would a 55-year-old grandfather who's looking to be a legacy and impact generations to come, what would he do? Be, act like, sound like, walk like, talk like.
Yeah. 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 And you got to be detailed about that.
Correct.
Right? Again, this is the vision work. Like if I can
Yes,
see my future self, like what she looks like, I can make better decisions about my right now self to get to her.
Absolutely.
And I might fall off a couple days, but at the same time, I know the blueprint. I know what I'm aspiring to.
That's it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think, how do we, okay, this is another one, Kurt, because you know that when people miss a day, they give up
Yes.
on the practice, right? How do you get men specifically to say it was just a day, we're back? Like, how do you get that in as a part of the inner voice?
Yeah, so it's one of those teaching strategies. How confidence is a performative behavior. It's a series of actions. So if you miss one day, right, the way to develop a new habit for the very habit that you did is to
Hmm.
miss more than one day.
Uh-huh.
Right. So that's it. You want a new habit, miss 2 days.
Yeah.
But missing one day means get back on it the following days. Right? Because
Yeah.
when you fall off of that habit, right? Say for example, your commitment is to do 50 push-ups every morning when you get up,
Hmm.
right? If you miss Monday, you got to do it Tuesday. If you get back on it Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to be that much tougher.
Yeah.
So the only person who can grant oneself a do-over is oneself.
Yes.
And so oftentimes we do the judge. I tell men, stop deliberating and negotiating with yourself. Just hit the floor and start the push-ups, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good because, that mantra of get it done for yourself
Hmm.
is different than what men are taught as responsibility, provision, get it done for other people.
It is.
Right. And so, I say to my clients all the time, the difference between integrity and, and doing something is really the agreements you keep with yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. So when we think about men getting out of this paradigm of provision and into a practice of purpose, how do we get them to say yes to themselves more consistently?
Through practice, right? And so, yeah, there's a series of yes. It's I'm gonna use this analogy, I best. It's sort of like having sex. You got to get ongoing consent, even if you're in the moment of it, right? you
Right,
got to,
right,
you
right,
can't
right.
just jump in and get consent is ongoing,
Uh-huh.
and that's with oneself. Like consent is ongoing. So sometimes a yes is a series of yes, even while you're going. Sometimes yes means keep going. You can't just say yes, jump in, and like I'm about to give up. Yet consent is ongoing. So
Mm-hmm.
practice saying yes, and yes automatically says no to things that are not in alignment. Most
Uh-huh.
people think because saying a bunch of no's is an energy expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
Just say that. Just keep with the yeses. So everything's a practice. Here's the best thing about working with men of all ages.
Yeah.
5, they get what practice means.
Yeah.
So instead of telling them all this deep and heavy stuff, I'm like, you learn how to talk, potty train, and learn your timetables through one thing: practice.
Practice. Hmm.
So that's what we doing, bruh. And they
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Yes, practice.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
showing up. We showing up until it becomes muscle memory. We
Yeah.
showing up until it becomes a part of our fiber. Like this is just what we do,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't do discipline. We are disciplined.
Mm-hmm. So that we don't need anyone else to discipline us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they waiting on you. They got systems in place. They had systems in place. I tell black males the system was in place when you came out the womb.
Yeah.
You thinking it's just your turn, bruh.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. 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 That discipline is important. And we, as steps and stages, we say discipline is the highest form of self-love.
It is.
Like we're not waiting for other people to tell us why we're unlovable and call it discipline. Right. We're gonna like invest in it daily, momentarily, right? And so I think this is really important. I mean, I know it's Men's Mental Health Month, Kurt. What are some of the things that you believe are just essential for men's mental health as they go about their day-to-day lives, right? Like what are if people are not gonna, take the leap, or their spouse is not gonna, keep encouraging them to have a therapist or go somewhere to do this work, like what can they do on their own?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I think is critical for reminding males is that everything's not mental health, but the awareness is every month. Like everything is not mental health. So there's this fine line of a lot of men who have now become dependent on, well, now I get in a safe space. It's okay to be okay. I can go to the men's group. I'm said, bro, you got to do the work.
Yes.
You become intellectualizing and standing around telling this story. It's what happened. It's your version story of what happens. And
Mm-hmm.
so I tell men, quite frankly, and I've received pushback, most men could benefit from a coach than a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy doesn't have a monopoly on healing black men. There's a lot of
Right.
things that take that, right?
Right.
Some of y'all don't need therapy. Some of y'all need a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Some of
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't need some. See, the majority of the men who think they need therapy are feeling heavy emotions, usually in two areas. Their relationships not well, their finances are not going well.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
tell if you need therapy. Fix those two. Go to the gym and figure out how you could, make that money, and then see what's really there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes y'all just broken out of shape.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. I mean,
Like that.
it in all due respect, and I tell brothers that, like, some of y'all just whining, like, yeah, my mama died, all our mamas passed. I
Yeah.
get you, but we're not using that. Your mama
Yeah.
died in '02,
Mm-hmm.
and no disrespect, but where's work? But see, when your coach says, right, because the therapist, depending on your coach says, you miss practice, you miss that ground ball, you're not starting in the game. This is how you get a starting position, and you do it.
Yeah.
You're not talking with the coach. Now, there's a small percentage of men that got real challenges, betrayal,
Yeah.
trauma. We get that. We get
Yeah.
that. But the majority of them, they want somebody to identify them now. And if they find someone like me to be like, yeah, I get it. Like, when the last time you worked out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When the last time you forgave yourself, your four exes back, your baby mama, your ex-wife, your mama, your daddy? Like, there's some basic stuff, right? You can pay me, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell your butt to go to the gym every session.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things is to continue to share with men that therapy does not have a patent on black male mental health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't, right?
Yes.
Therapy is nice for everybody could benefit depending on the therapy you get, but
Yeah.
it ain't necessary for every individual to seek a therapist. It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Because the stigma around mental health is that you go because something's wrong. Right. But you also go to your primary care doctor once a year just to see how you're doing.
Correct.
Right. So mental health is really just the practice of staying mentally well.
That's it.
Right. Like, and so every practice that affects your mental state should be a part of your mental health practice.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go, coach. And that's a lot of things, different things for life. There's some basics for all men.
Yeah.
But part of that is your physical, your financial, your spiritual, your familial, your, like, there's a lot of pillars in there.
Yeah.
Like, which pillars are not erect? Which pillars
Mhm.
in your life are kind of wobbly? Let's start there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about the betrayal. I'm happy to talk about all of that, but
Yeah.
there's still work to be done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good, Kurt. I mean, look, here we could be on here all day, but I feel like
You
we've given
already know.
I feel like we've given the people some nuggets.
Yes.
You know, I do know that having had a father who managed PTSD, which it wasn't even called PTSD in the 70s. The backstory, my father lost both his legs in Vietnam. My brother and I were both born after the fact. So I grew up with a man who was wounded and healing and coping simultaneously. And, this idea of relationships and finances was so intertwined in our household that if there was no money, there was no person there.
Mm.
Like I remember walking in the house and just my father not speaking to people, because his finances were off, right? And so that kind of did this thing in me, this some kind of mental gymnastics of not being attached to money, right? And being successful, but not being attached to money, right? And so that it doesn't change my demeanor with people.
Mm.
And so I have to really be clear with my husband to be that, like, great. I love, hey, I've been single for a long time. You going to pay for something? Amen. But also, it doesn't make me love you anymore, any less.
Mm.
Right. And I think as women, we also have to really expand our perspective of what partnership is and not think of the things we were doing on our own as something this person should now start doing for us. Right. And so I think when we put those kinds of burdens on people, we don't get to see them.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. That's a big one. I find that there's a fine line between uh, allowing people to love up on you in a
Mm-hmm.
way that they get to feel good about themselves and you. and the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
And so I have a similar financial blue. I had to rewrite my own financial blueprint.
Hmm.
Uh, and so, it's funny as I listen to your story. Back in the day, it wasn't called PTSD. My father went to the video. You were shell shocked,
Yeah.
and your mama had a nervous breakdown. Right? They were specifically assigned. The women had nervous breakdowns. The men was
Right.
shell shocked.
Right. Right.
That
Right.
was it. That's how we described it.
Right.
It's like, what's wrong with dude? He shell shocked. It could be the wino. It could be your father. Like, for whatever reason, he went to the war. He went to and that was the extent of black male. That was the extent of black mental health.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I've heard your story with your dad. Yeah, that's very inspiring. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have a dad in the house, but he was active, and I have most of my friends had dads in the house
Yeah.
who wasn't active. I had a
You
dad who
see,
wasn't in the wasn't in the house, was active. I got friends who dad was in the house and totally inactive.
this is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is what I'm telling you, Kurt. And so I might get in trouble for saying this out loud on the podcast, but like if my fiance is laying on the couch and I'm like doing stuff in the house, baby, I have to talk myself down. I gotta reel it in. You hear me? And I have said to him, babe, I have been thinking really mean thoughts about you for the last 45 minutes. And to his credit, he will say, you want to tell me what those thoughts were? And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. Right. But
I'm stuck here for a minute. Be cool. Yeah.
Right. But that's the pattern, right? Because having someone in your home who's inactive tells you that like you don't have support. It tells it, especially for young women, right? It just tells you that like you got to do it for yourself on your own. And so then it kind of dismantles me relating to him as a partner. Because I didn't grow into that, right? Again, like all the work that gets exposed that we need to do.
Yeah.
As in addition to me being a recovering workaholic and not knowing how to rest. So I'm like, what you mean what are you resting right now? How dare you?
Get your butt up. Get up. Just stand up. How about that? Just stand up. Right. You ain't got to do that. Just get on your feet.
He's like, baby, would you like me to help you? Oh, yes, I would. Like then it gets sarcastic, right? But we can laugh about it later. Right. But it comes to that point of, I read something recently where most marriages fall apart when it's time to reparent your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So basically he's reparenting me. He's like, yeah, I was resting, but do you need me? Let's do it. And then I have to take that as the reality. Right? So all of the things.
Good.
Hooker.
I am so excited. Yes, what you just said, I'm so excited for you and your partner. I know who you are to the degree that, y'all about to get it cracking. Yeah. This is going to be wonderful. No, really. I mean, because there's one thing to have been through some stuff and worked on yourself.
Yeah.
And now you get now you get to put it all into practice.
Yeah.
Even when you don't feel like it or even know it.
Yeah.
And being who you are, like I heard you describe that's the beauty. Like you can be who you are on somebody else's watch, even when you're a complete jerk.
Yeah.
Because it's a difference between the beingness and the doing. You doing jerk stuff.
Yeah.
You're being sad and fearful and triggered. Right. That's the being. Yeah. So to have your partner speak to that being, to help bridge that, come on, man. That's like, man, we all need that. Like, most people want it. We need that. That relational piece, keeps everybody safe.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking saving lives.
Yes, and saving light
for sure.
That's what I really thought about. And this from being around my son and helping him become who he is. But like I'm trying to save his light. There's a lot of saved Black lives. I need to save his light. I do not know when either of our lives will come to an end, but if he can live with his light intact, that's my work.
Yeah, that young man showed up. I don't know. I always tell you that, like, where did that agreement between all y'all, like, what was that agreement like to have Gabe come through you? Man, I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, but you have the devotional, right? So you know the spiritual part of how he came up again and waited for me, and I was like, whoa, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that part, and inviting
Yes.
these spiritual partnerships into your life. My fiance and I met 25 years ago,
Oh wow. Okay.
right? And like repositioning what time does to people, how perspective changes, you know, how what you know you need now comes into your life when when you've done the work to receive it,
Mm.
you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Well,
So
Kurt, you want to
good.
leave people with a last word? What would you say? Men's Mental Health Month. What's the last word for people who are wanting to live on purpose?
For me, and an acknowledgement of Men's Mental Health
Hmm.
Month, and those of us who are people on purpose, I want to remind people like it's deeper than self love, particularly for men. If you could stay in a state of self discovery and self respect,
Mm,
those two, right? People love to the degree that they love, right? We throw that around, but it's really like be respectable,
yeah,
right? As opposed to being respectful. So if you could stay curious, like what is this about for me? What do I need in this moment? What
yeah.
is it that I'm resisting? That level of self curiosity will
Hmm.
take you to a new self discovery, but really being respectful. You get to respect yourself, like you said, by making promises and keeping them. You
Yeah.
get to be self respected by honoring the agreements to yourself. Be your word so that you could stay grounded and safe with yourself. Most men act out because they feel unsafe in their bodies.
Mm, hmm.
In
Hmm.
their bodies, not in their minds. Their
Yeah.
mind gonna do what like like in their physical apparatus, they feel unsafe. And to seek control, right? Oftentimes put men in some challenging places. So people
Yeah.
on purpose make agreements with themselves and they keep it. They become self trustworthy. They don't have to worry about trusting or distrusting other individuals. They are self trustworthy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, Kurt. Look, you know, I always love talking to you. I
Thank you.
am excited that you're in the world and I see the work that you're doing. If y'all want to follow Kurt, we're going to put some information below this video. And if you're really looking for a coach, someone who's not just going to listen, but direct you in the right direction, you know, you can reach out to Kurt. If you feel like you want to jump into the Vision Zone monthly, every Tuesday, every first Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m., we'd love to have you. But this is People on Purpose, and we hope you find something to practice today. I'll see you later.
Love you, coach. Good seeing you.
You too.